something I'd just like your advice on before I go, and I don't even know if you'll be able to help, but um, on a Wednesday is my day off normally, and I would normally have one of my husband's grandchildren on that day, as he's not old enough for preschool yet. And the last 2 weeks since all this came about, I haven't had him because they've been away on holiday. They're now back on holiday, and I had a phone call last night from his daughter saying, are you still okay to have the baby on Wednesday? And
Right.
I must have hesitated because there was no sign of her knowing what the situation is, and I'm scared that I have such a good relationship with him and the grandchild that I don't want that to change because this has happened. And I don't think she knows what's going on.
Okay.
So
And what did you say when she asked this? Did you just say
I think
yes, that's
I
fine?
must have hesitated because she said, unless you've any other plans, then that's okay. And I said, no, realising that that I was assuming her knowledge of something she didn't probably know. And I thought, well, he's probably not told anyone, as I haven't. So
yeah.
So possibly, it's, I don't know, my question is, how would you advise going about that meeting with her when she brings the baby? Would you mention anything about her dad, or?
I'd say that the best thing to do is be led by her. So if she brings the baby, how would you feel about it if she just behaves normally? Would that be okay?
Yes, except do I mention something to her, or do I not, because that's not my place to mention it?
I suppose you would, hopefully, if you were communicating with Steve, these are the conversations that would be quite helpful to have. If you were able to speak to him and he's willing to have dialogue, one of the things would be, who are we telling? Do we tell people? If we're telling them, what should we tell them about it? And so those kind of dialogues really would be helpful. In the absence of them, I suppose you just have to make a decision that you feel comfortable with. Because all well and good, I could say, don't say anything because, you know, it's his place to tell his daughter. On the occasion, you might become upset and feel that you need to say something.
So just take it as it comes and see if, I mean, if she does know something, she might ask a question like, how are things with you, or something, and that might be something that I can then say, well, do you know about what's been happening with your dad? Or, and if she says no, then I'll say, well, you do need to speak to your dad then.
Yeah, and
I don't want to badmouth him to his family, or that. I don't feel that that's necessary, especially because we haven't dealt with things yet ourselves. It's very early days.
It is, and also you've got to remember, if there's a child present, then it probably wouldn't be the right time to have an in-depth conversation, especially if you've got to look after the child afterwards. So there may be an element to which that comes into it also.
Yes, possibly that would be a better way to leave it for this week and then see what next week brings. And maybe if I can speak to Steve, then he can speak to her, and the way's prepared then for her saying to me, well, look, I'd still like you to have him if you're happy to. I'm happy to just go on, and hopefully that will.
And is that your feeling deep down, that you really would like to continue to have him?
I hope so, because I don't feel that I feel that he's my grandchild. I don't feel that he's just Steve's grandchild. I feel he's mine too. So I don't really think that should end because our relationship has ended.
Yeah.
I would hate that to be the case.
then that's one thing that you need to be clear about when you communicate with Steve, is that you are willing to continue to support his family and find ways to make that okay. So make it work for everyone so they don't feel uncomfortable. And part of that might be agreeing what he communicates to his daughter and how. These are the types of conversations that, even if you're not going to be together, they'll be helpful going forwards.
Yes,
I certainly think that there is a difficulty when you are dealing with relationship issues and not communicating. So hopefully he will open up that communication soon.
Okay, well hopefully when I see you next time it will have been resolved.
Yes, and so next week we've got the same timing. Did you say that you could do the exact time?
Yes, I think that's fine for next week.
Okay, and are you coming here in person again? Because sometimes we do a Zoom, don't we?
I think it's better to come. Yeah, I feel that you help very much, and so it would be better, I think, to come and see you directly.
Okay, yeah.
And we can talk about everything that's happened between now and then.
Okay.
So hopefully things will be a bit more resolved and you'll be able to help me with the way forward.
And if you did feel in the meantime that you felt you really needed to discuss anything or get anything off your chest, just let me know, because I do have shift workers as clients, so sometimes my diary is quite flexible. I don't want you to feel like you have to wait the full week if you're struggling.
Oh, okay.
Do contact me and I'll check my diary and do my very best to make sure that I've got time for you, particularly in this scenario where you don't really have a network that know about this at the moment.
I've got to make that call really as to whether I say anything before we've been able to meet up, and because I don't really know what to say, what to tell people. So my feeling is that I'm better just working things through with you a little bit, and hopefully with Steve, so that then when I do tell everyone else that I've got something more concrete to work with.
And then you'll know how you've agreed to present this. You know, it's each couple is entirely different. Not everybody goes down the same road. Some people like to explain why the splits happened and some don't. So it's entirely matter for you in the relationship to work on that. And if Steve decides to communicate, then all the better. If he doesn't, then we can work through how you want personally to deal with this, because it's your situation as well.
That was my next question. What do I do if you won't meet or have a conversation?
Yeah, so we'll work through that next time.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Take care now, and I'll see you in a week.
Okay,
right.